Hey everybody, have a look at the seaplane or the float plane taking off there in front of us. Anyway, we went for a drive from our cabin on Tyaughton Lake, I hope I'm saying it right, to Goldbridge and Braylord. This is just the trip. I thought I'll take a video and show you what it looks like driving around there. It's all dirt roads, and it's basically, it's about 28 minutes long, 26 minutes long, and it's the trip from Tyaughton Lake all the way to Goldbridge. It's actually a bit of a dirt road. Well, not a bit, it is a dirt road all the way, funnily enough, but it's actually really well maintained. I was speaking to one of the ladies that was floating past in the lake, and she was telling me she lives there. She's been living there since 1990 or something, forever. And she was telling me that the roads are well maintained because the post has to get through twice a week. So I don't know who maintains it, if it's the government or the post office or what. Obviously there's the big hydroelectric dam just down the road from here. So I don't know. But the way she said it was like being maintained purely so that the post can get through. Look, there's obviously that big Tyaughton Hotel, T-A-Y-X Hotel, just on the other side of this lake, and they look like they're doing really well. They bought a whole bunch of these properties. They offer heli skiing and everything, so it's obviously kind of an upmarket place. And maybe they're also maintaining the road, but yeah, these roads are actually not that bad at all. You know, coming from South Africa and living in the Karoo, where I drove on a lot of dirt roads, these are, they're brilliant. Anyway, what makes this so cool is, I mean, look at this, the nature. You're right there in the forest. I mean, there's actually quite a few houses around this lake. What was it? The floating lady, Sue is her name. She told me that they had in Tyaughton Lake, Marshall, Goldbridge, Brixton, and that whole area. I think she mentioned another town around there as well. And in that whole area, there's only 250 registered voters. So only 250 permanent residents. Although she did also say that right now during the pandemic, there's been a huge amount of people that kind of own properties there but that didn't live there, that's now moved there on a more permanent basis to get out of the cities and get away from the whole COVID situation. Out here, internet still works on satellite, so it was very sketchy. I couldn't upload anything while we were up there. Couldn't do any posts because it was just not happening at all. She also blames all the people that moved there for COVID, because she says, you know, they're using up all the bandwidth, all the satellite bandwidth. So, I mean, it's an awesome place. I can imagine just living there permanently on that lake with this beautiful view and everything. But it's got its drawbacks. Number one is the internet. Number two, I don't know, she said the black flies. There was these black flies, and man, were they annoying. None of the bug sprays helped for it, but she said it's normally not like that. It's just weird this year. There's a very bad black fly plague. And those things are, wow. And they bite. That's the problem. You know, if they just flew around and sat on you, that's fine. But occasionally one would sit on you and then they bite, and they actually bite quite sore. We didn't have much issues with mosquitoes. It was mainly the flies that was like horrible. Anyway, back to where we are driving. I mean, this is the road just above Tyaughton Lake, going down to to Carpenter Lake, which is the big lake. And I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, and you see people walking and people riding bikes, and there's mountain bike trails around there. As a matter of fact, I believe that hotel actually offers heli skiing and heli mountain biking, so they will fly you out into the bush somewhere and they'll drop you off. Yeah, there's some bikes coming through now. They'll fly you off and drop you off somewhere in the bush with your mountain bike, and then you like take a few days to get back or hike back and stuff like that. So I can imagine that's quite cool. You can also imagine that it costs a little bit of a fortune for the helicopter to take you out, but anyway. So yeah, a lot of these properties that you see on the left here are all holiday properties. A lot of them are owned by that Tyaughton hotel group, and then, you know, some of them are now permanent residents. Anyway, the road is so smooth, I must say, for a dirt road or an unpaved road, as they call it in the Western world. It's actually quite a nice drive. Quite smooth and easy to do. We're going to go out here now. I think we're passing the lake on the left. Let me see, can I still see lake? No, that's about it, I guess. Then we are going to head down on the one side down to Mawson, M-O-W-S-O-N, Mawson Pond, where there's also a recreation site. There's actually quite a few campsites and holiday areas around there in the bush. It's you know, there's the Shilcotton Holidays Guest Ranch just in the other direction. There's the recreation sites. There's forestry campsite. Yeah, so there's lots to do, you know, and it's kind of still open wilderness, even though there's, you know, obviously the houses up there. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we're heading down to the pond side now, the Mawson Pond. It's just so beautiful. I mean, you've got oh, and then of course, of course, this is the wilderness. So there's animals, there's bears, and there's deer. Belinda was reading through the guest book of the cabin that we stayed in, and it's quite amazing how many grizzly sightings were at that cabin, and how many you know, deer and wild animals. I guess we had Storm the dog there, so, you know, I doubt that any deer or anything would come around. Not that a grizzly is scared of a little husky, but you know, I would think that if you walk around in these bushes or ride your mountain bike, you carry some bear spray or something. Now look at that view. And of course, as far out as it, they are fully serviced. They've got electricity and everything up there. Well, obviously, except the internet comes in through satellite. They are all hoping for Elon Musk's Starlink, or what's it that he calls it, to start materializing, because that will obviously help them to get much better internet speeds at a much lower rate. Because they actually also dial it down, because the lady said, oh, the kids come here and they just watch videos the whole time, and they just chow up all the bandwidth, and then you got to pay a whole lot extra and all that. But yeah, anyway, I think you'll see that Mawson Pond any moment there on the right. It's a very nice drive, and on a beautiful sunny day. I mean, look how green everything is with all those mountains in the background. It's really fun and enjoyable. I think that was Gun Creek Road that we just passed on the right. That goes to some of the other properties up in this area. Apparently there's no property for sale in this area anymore, because it used to be Crown land that they sold, but then obviously with some of the First Nations claims and stuff, they stopped selling Crown land, so no Crown land are being sold, so you can't get any new property there, and the people that are there are not letting go, and if they do, you get into bidding wars because the hotel's trying to buy everything up. Also, I've heard. don't hold me to that part. Any which way. Up front here, we're going to get to a section where the road is just, you've got this huge cliff as we descend from the up plateau, I guess, or from the mountain down to Carpenter Lake. So actually quite scary. Belinda didn't like that too much. She's like a little bit nervous about the huge drop on the side. Well, you'll see it now. But are we not seeing the mouse and pond? I thought the camera would have caught it. Must be. We'll see just now. Anyway, it's interesting when you're out in these little, like in the wilderness, you know. It's amazing that, yeah, I mean that these places exist. Oh, there's the pond, Mawson Pond, Mowson. And there's a recreation site there as well. Yeah, but anyway, so I was wondering about this, what happens in the winter, because the thing is, it's the road is nice and it's all good, but it's still a little bit harrowing driving out there in summer. So I can only imagine when this is all covered, because up there I'm pretty sure it snows quite a bit and it ices and freezes. So I was wondering. Anyway, Sue said that they still, they plow it because the mail has to get through. So there you go. Now watch this. Check at this drop here on the right as we descend. Everywhere they've got these gates that's got a stop on it. I assume they close the roads when there's a lot of snow or ice. Yeah, quite a narrow little road with quite a steep drop here on the right. Then of course you've got these little rock falls everywhere. There's lots of stones that roll down. So I actually think it must take quite a bit of maintenance to keep these roads in the condition that they're in. I was very surprised, honestly. And that, folks, there in front of you is Carpenter Lake, which is a hydroelectric plant. So this that whole place belongs to Hydro Canada, or BC Hydro, sorry, not Hydro Canada, belongs to BC Hydro. And yeah, they maintain a whole bunch of the places here, like the old they've got campgrounds and stuff like that around. The first day we came past, the lake was such a clear blue, and today it was very kind of milky. But it's yeah, it's quite cool. It's very, very interesting. Let's see. Here we go. Here's and she says they don't put salt on the roads here, it's only sand. So I guess that's the gravel that they used to put on the roads when it snows. And this is the Lillooet Pioneer Road 30. See, Tyaughton Resort. They're the big guys up there. We're going to turn right and go towards Goldbridge, which is also quite a nice drive. You just kind of drive all the way down this lake, Carpenter Lake. Yeah, that's right. This section of the road was paved. So this Lillooet Road, there's like, sections are paved and then sections are not paved. So I don't know if they paved only certain parts, or if the whole thing was paved and then sections of it just wore out and kind of fell apart and became unpaved. Nobody could really give me any information about that. But this is quite a smooth run. It was a little bit narrow, the road. It's not the widest road. And then of course you've got these giant logging trucks that come past. I don't think there was one on this trip, but yeah, you've got these giant logging trucks carrying logs that fly past here, past you, and that's like, you know, quite freaky sometimes. But yeah, look at that view, man. You've got all the trees and the giant lake in front of you with this open rock faces. Look on the left there, you can see that's, I assume, where they've logged already, and that's new growth forest coming out there. We're close to Goldbridge now, I believe. This is a I wasn't too far. I think it was 11 k's or something on this road. So anyway, I must say, I think, you know, it must be a completely different life if you live here. Oh, look at the rock fall on the right there. You obviously get that everywhere on these roads, with these rock falls. So I'm sure there must be quite a few crews whose job it is to just like cruise around and clean up all the rock falls and make sure the roads are passable. Because, I mean, you really are in the mountains. Here we are at the end of the lake. The lake's actually quite, Carpenter Lake seems to be quite empty. I mean, look at that. I think normally the water goes up to the trees over there on the left, and it seems to be very, very empty at the moment. I guess maybe it's got to do with all these huge heat waves and stuff that we have, or maybe they just use it up and then in winter it refills with the snow. I wonder if Carpenter Lake freezes over. Because Tyaughton Lake freezes over. The lady said it's got a couple of feet of snow on it, so if you drive, you know, you can, they ski and skate and do ice fishing and all kinds of stuff on Tyaughton Lake. I wonder how it works if you've got Carpenter Lake, if that freezes over and you've got hydroelectric plant, how does that work? That would be interesting to know, actually, to be honest. Anyway, you've got these little slow boards everywhere. Just take care. Oh, we're going over one of those little bridges. Weird, all the bridges here are made of wood. I suppose wood is just as strong as steel if you use nice thick wood, but I mean, sometimes you just wonder. Here's the campground. That's a BC Hydro Gunpowder Creek campground on the left. Check out this bridge. It's a 1-car wooden bridge. Not sure what this building is. It looked pretty deserted when we passed there. So we're going to be coming up on Goldbridge fairly soon. Just around the next corner here, we're going to cross over the streams and go to Goldbridge, which is just a tiny little town. Very, very tiny little town. On the way to Braylorn. So you'll see that in a minute. But yeah, oh, that's another thing. That's a telephone, well, that's an electricity pole up there, I think. Anyway, but they've got telephones up here. They've got telephones in at Tyaughton Lake, at the cabin. There's a phone. It's actually weird that they couldn't get faster internet there, or I suppose dial-up is just not worth it. Maybe it's just an old phone line. It's actually so fun looking at it again, and while I'm recording this voiceover, because it's just, it was such a cool drive. Look at the mountains there in the distant, faraway mountains with the snow peaks, and then you've just got this green and the river and the dam and the trees and the rocks, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely going to go back up there again to explore a little bit more. I mean, we were only there for 2 days, so we only did the one little exploratory trip, and then of course on the last day the whole place was covered in smoke. Here we go, one of the logging trucks. They're quite intimidating when they come flying at you down the road. It's something to get used to, I guess. On this side of the road it's still fine because this road's paved and it's nice and wide, but on some sections of the road, on this road to Lillooet, the way we came, it got a little bit freaking scary, to say the least. Anyway, Goldbridge is still a bit off. Another logging truck. I guess I was going slow. Yeah, the road here, the maximum speed at any time is 60, and it's generally about 30 or 40 or 20 even around some of the bends. They're like, oh, go 20, go 30. So, don't expect to go anywhere fast. It looks like I'm driving really fast, but I really am not. I stick to the speed limits because I'm a very responsible new Canadian driver. And I don't want to die, so I guess, especially on these kind of roads, you'd rather, if they say go 20, you go 20. Are they 60? Look at the rock face on the right here. Of course, the funniest thing is, hey, we're doing this drive and it's so beautiful and appreciated. Me and Belinda, we love it. And then the kids sit in the back of the car and stare at their phones, and they just don't get it. Wonder what's going to happen with the new generation. That will they ever develop that connection with nature that we still have? When we're out in a place like this, we you kind of feel it. You feel that connection with nature. You look at it and you go, oh wow, that's awesome. Even though it doesn't show you videos or changes fast or do weird things, you just look at it and you appreciate the beauty and you appreciate the majesticness of the mountains and the trees and everything. And the kids, well, hopefully it's just an age thing, they just look at it and go, nah, and then they carry on watching YouTube or TikTok or whatever, or read stories. Luckily Angelique's reading stories on her phone now. Hope that lasts. But anyway, it's it's interesting. I wonder if the next generations are going to have the same appreciation for nature as we do. I really sincerely hope so. I mean, a lot of the new generation is all about, don't make roads, don't, keep nature alive. But I mean, I feel like that's two different things. The one is just some cool Instagrammable cause, and the other one is actually when you're out there to actually feel it and understand it. So yeah. Alright, here's the sign, Goldbridge. Yoo-hoo! We're going to go around the bend now, and then we'll cross over to Goldbridge. There's not much in Goldbridge, so I'm just going to warn you, it's not like it's going to be a super exciting place. It's like, there's not a lot in Goldbridge. There's a general store and a pub, which I guess is, most of what you need. General store to get some supplies and a pub to go and relax in. Pub's actually quite funny. When we come up to it, you must have a look. I hope I got a good shot of it. They have like above the door they had this mannequins dressed like old-timey saloon people sitting at a table and having a drink. So that's quite funny. Yeah, excuse all the notifications here. I'm just doing the voiceover on my computer and it's got all these notifications. Here we go, another one of those little wooden bridges to cross over to Goldbridge. Single car wooden bridge. Tell you what, sometimes I wonder about these wooden bridges. But yeah, well, I guess, like I said, they're probably just as strong as a normal one. And welcome to Goldbridge, folks. They've got a museum, a couple of houses, and like I said, a general store and a pub. What is this? I think this is the Goldbridge Museum on the side here. Oh, there's a few signs of things that happen in Goldbridge. That's the welcome to Goldbridge town sign, going into town right now. And not yet, sorry, around the next bend. And there you have Goldbridge. There's the saloon with the people sitting at the top. And then over here in the right is the general store. And then I don't actually know what any of the other places were. We just quickly stopped, but the general store was closed.